Hello and welcome once again to the Dr. Zeero Free Magic Secret Show, where we are today, as always, we investigate magic. We investigate sometimes social constructs or different political situations. And this is a kind of a little bit of all three, I guess, because we have to talk about the power of homelessness and the importance of when you do have a home and you have a place to call your own. It's always good to keep 1 foot in the street and 1 foot indoors because you never know when it's going to collapse or how it's going to fall apart. And Dr. Zeero is once again at this crucial juncture of time where Dr. Zeero is probably going to end up back on the streets. And see, there's the power of homelessness where there's things you can do in life if the situation pervades. Now, for people who don't understand it, being homeless is the hardest job in America. It truly is. It really depends on the situation. Now, if you get lucky and you're able to set up a camp on private property where no cops are bothering you and you're kind of off the street, and you also have people you trust to watch your shit and watch your back so you can go to the store and stuff like that and gather supplies and be left alone, you're in a miraculous situation. You can exist for quite some time. And this also gets you in the spirit where you have an ocean of time to yourself to, well, if you don't have to collect bottles in order to survive, you can therefore study all the magic books known to man, study every occult thing known to man, which is what Dr. Zeero did for a number of years. But, alas, the power of homelessness is compromised by the strangling push of society and those in control of power. And so with the Supreme Court just criminalized camping on public property anywhere, and in one of the justices' opinions, he wrote that, quote, or close to the quote, is that it doesn't matter if you're a homeless person, it doesn't matter if you're a student on backpacking, it doesn't matter if you're a protester, and that's an important thing as well. Any kind of camping or sleeping on public property in any kind of way that would detect on law enforcement in any shape or form is therefore illegal. So basically they made homelessness illegal and they made Occupy illegal. Because even if we don't call it Occupy anymore, it's a tactic. It's a protest tactic. You dig yourself in there. So they made this form of protest illegal. Okay? So this should rile up all the people who have, living anywhere. So Dr. Zeero is about to be homeless once again, unfortunately. And in a whole new situation where there is no private property to camp on, there's only public spaces left to camp on. And now the city has, you could say, bum-proofed itself. That's a good slang term right there. They bum-proofed it. So, the amount of businesses that have, awnings you could sleep under or a shield from the rain has depleted. Everything's been built so it's straight down to get rid of that, just like Amsterdam was bum-proofed many years ago. And the city has found all the old places where you could set up a tent and get away and dig yourself in. They put giant boulders down all over the ground so you can't set up a tent. And they also fenced off all the old areas. And then all the other old areas where there used to be empty lots, they've erected giant housing complexes with way too expensive places that you can't afford to rent. So the whole city's been redeveloped and bum-proofed. And now the cops are cracking down. And where Dr. Zeero is at, the cops have another thing where, say, they show up to your tent, right? They have these new laws that they're selectively enforcing. So the deal is they show up to your tent, and then you have an option. Either A, you can dismantle and leave immediately. B, they have a tracking app, and it says that if there's open shelter beds available, and if you don't come with them, and you don't, go along with that, then they can write you $100 tickets or a $100 ticket plus 7 days in jail. So they've been steadily arresting people using these measures one by one by one by one by one. And they're taking down all the trouble camps, and there's many, many, many trouble camps. But eventually, they're going to turn their focus to everyday homeless schmoes, keeping to themselves as much as possible. And that's when Dr. Zeero is going to get stuck with the game of whack-a-mole. Oh, Dr. Zeero is at a bus stop. You can probably hear it. So, the power of homelessness, it gives you a sense of, you have to be able to, it's like camping. You have to be able to let go of the clutches of society in your mind. You stop giving a fuck about certain things. You become more into caveman mode. It does wonders for your concentration and your abilities of patience and what you can put yourself through. But one of the sad things is when you do run out of money, you used to live in a society where you could take, up to $30 back a day with bottles. Now it's most places only give you $2.50. So this is another thing that drives up the streets. The people who are on, that really terrible drug, that new opioid crisis drug, they get it for really, really cheap. So that's what they're just living off, is $2 in bottle returns, and then run to the next aluminum foil and straw, you know what I mean? Dr. Zeero is not into any of that shit. Dr. Zeero is just more of a classic stoner. And there's these things, they grow in the forest and in various places on the ground. They're fungal. Sometimes a little bit of fungus, but I don't know. So that's the Dr. Zeero rant for today. For anyone experiencing homelessness, or about to, or been through it, this will all make sense. But do understand, how severe the situation is, not just in Dr. Zeero's backyard, but in America all over. And all the trials that people are put through, having to sleep outside and camp and do all these things in less hospitable states. Because, and then also California Governor Newsom signed a law, aggressively executive actions against homelessness as well, people camping on public areas and how to deal with it swiftly. So they're cracking down everywhere. So, welcome to the possibly coming MAGA age, because even if President Trump doesn't win this time, all the Supreme Court, everything he handpicked are all still there. He threw quite a monkey wrench of backwardsness into the system, and that's why Roe v. Wade got overturned and all such things. So, anyway, keeping it short and swift, just concentrate on the magical power of homelessness and what you can do when you give up the ghost, and when you're smart and you can live by your wits, and you turn into a full-time traveler. Because what's the point of being a home bum? You can be a home bum or you can be a permanent traveler. So think about it. All right, later, kids. Have a good night, etc., etc. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.